everyone, and welcome to another sketchbook tour. You guys seemed to like the last one, so we're gonna get into it again. We stopped at this sketchbook, which ends around 2022, or yeah, around August of 2022. And honestly, a lot of my sketchbooks overlap because I do not have the patience to finish an entire sketchbook before I start a new one. And there are also a lot in here from art school. So we are going to start off with this one now. It's a Strathmore mixed media. I think the size is 7x9. It's not quite a full sheet of paper. So let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, guys, we are starting off strong. This is actually, the cover is dated in January of 2022. So like I said, there's just a little bit of overlap, but there is definitely kind of a collage thing happening here. I used a lot of gesso. I believe this was from a brown paper bag, and acrylic paint and page from a book I like to pull from. So just a lot of mixed media here, and you're kind of gonna see that theme through a lot of this. Kind of a similar vibe on the first front page to the cover. A lot of pencil sketching with that book page laid underneath of mountains, trees, things like that. I believe there's watercolor up here. On the next page, we just have a little collage. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the last video, but I keep a lot of collage materials, just like letters, words, pictures, things like that. This one was actually part of an art project that I did. So our project was to make a camera obscura out of like cardboard and stuff. It was really fun. Maybe I'll show it to you guys sometime. But I took a picture with it, and this is a painting of that picture that I made of my bunny, Watson. So that was pretty cool. Here is just another different kind of version. I believe this is watercolor of the same image. This one, I hope the glare's not too bad. It says February of 2022. I like to do this a lot, where I will journal on a page or write on a page and tear it up and kind of create an art piece. I don't remember what it was about. It was 3 years ago at this point, but I see the word, waves, comes and goes, and then I just painted some kind of pretty abstract waves. It looks like I used a palette knife here. I'm actually really happy with this page. I love how it turned out. This one is another, just a journal page. I like to use my art sketchbooks for all kinds of things. So you'll see that it's not just your typical sketchbook. I'll use it as a journal or kind of just a catch-all for everything in my life. I found these leaves, and then we had to do kind of a color story for my art class. I believe it was my core art class. I can't remember. This is another mountain that I made. I actually put up a piece of like, whatever this is called, I can't remember, from a page and did a mountain range. And I am actually extremely happy with how it came out. I love the texture. And yeah, I just think it turned out really cool looking. I have more of a desert, mountain, sand dune thing in the corner. This one is a little bit different than my normal style. It's a little bit more exact. I used a ruler and was drawing a lot of these lines. The back is acrylic paint, and I laid it on very thick to get those textural lines that I kind of built off of. The color palette is also not my typical color palette, but as you can see, it was April 3rd. I do like how this came out. So kind of a theme, I guess, is just these sort of wave shapes, just, gestural, using a palette knife. I can actually see that this is chalk in the back here, and then acrylic paint. I really love these orange, red, yellow colors. And then we've got the sun in the corner here. Wow, yeah, I didn't realize how many mountains were in here. At this time, I was in college, but I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest, so I am really a fan of all the mountains, snow, things like that. So that could have been something that I was representing in here. This kind of feels more like a blizzard. I see another tear from a page on here. So, you know, that could have been what's going through my mind, or I could have just been really fixated on mountains. Who knows? This is a little ink page that I did, and I actually would blot it on the page and use a straw to blow it. And again, it kind of does look like mountains. It could kind of maybe like sort of a butterfly shape as well. And then I just used, it looks like watercolor pencil. After that. Would you know it? Another mountain. Out of acrylic paint with a palette knife. Wow, I didn't realize that theme was so strong in this book. Here is a sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a junk journal page, but I did quite a bit of this and I still do. I went to a coffee shop and just wrote on my little pastry bag, and so I taped that in here. And then I found this out of a magazine, and I believe, yeah, there's like a little shape that I folded in here. A little random, but still fun. So this is actually one of my favorite pages. I just love how interactive it is. So I went to La La Land Cafe, obviously, and kind of just sat and did a whole sketchbook spread about this coffee shop, and I used my napkin and made little curtains for the door. So I'm very proud of this page. And again, just a little pocket interactive with a little piece of paper in it. So this was, it looks like May of 2022. And yeah, I love this page. It's definitely one of my favorites in the sketchbook. Just drew a little flower with oil pastels. I love the colors in this one, as well as the sketch lines underneath the flower. This is another coffee shop sketch. I'm actually really happy with how this little coffee cup in the corner turned out. Also my little moldy strawberry here, I'm a big fan of. A lot of the sketchbook is just playing around. That's my favorite thing to do in a sketchbook. Just noting my experiences, working with what I feel like working with, you know, just not too much pressure and not too much emphasis on a final product. So for this one, I believe it's a tree. I think that is what I was going for. A lot of just jagged lines. It almost feels like I bought a palette knife during this time. I wish I had kept up with these sketchbook tours more often so I would have more information, but it was so many years ago that I don't have a huge recollection of every page. This is another pocket page. I think I was into those. I'm not sure. I think it just has a bunch of origami pages in it. Wow, it took me forever to get those in there just now. But yeah, another leaf, just a simple page. This page, I think, was originally a swatch page, and then I just kind of ran with it. This is a little bit different than I normally do, and we're over in November now, so we're really getting through 2022. I started just kind of with some random lines, colored them in, turned them into this kind of robot machine evil man. It's a little bit more imaginative in terms of like creating a character. I think during a lot of this sketchbook I was dealing with some, judgment towards myself in my art, so just really trying to get out of that art block phase and just kind of push myself out of the box and not try to judge myself too hard, because as you can see, a lot of this is not a finished work or a quote-unquote beautiful page, and part of that has to do with I just don't put emphasis on that, and part of that has to do with there was just a lot of judgment from myself at the time. This is the beginning of a Zentangle that I clearly never finished. So this is the page where all those origami scraps came from. I took these from, I believe, a magazine. They're like hot sauce bottles. I don't actually love hot sauce that much. I just like the composition of this thing. I just think it's quite fun. So this is another one of those more expressive pages. You can see mountains, trees as the eyebrows, and it's just a little face, a door, and stairs going up. I wish I had a little bit more recollection of like how I was feeling during this time, because it seems to convey a lot of emotion with, you know, the sun entangled in the eyebrow and the wind. It's just very nature oriented. And my best guess, if I know myself, is, again, I was just dealing with that kind of art judgment, which I know all of us artists deal with. It's just a page, right? You know, the sketchbook was $10 and it's just a page, and don't be so hard on yourself is really what I'm trying to say. This is so funny. So I think I was going back and forth through a few sketchbooks during this time, because this is from August and we just passed something from November. So as you can see, I'm not very organized about these types of things, but this is just a bunch of shapes, different colors, bright colors, in oil pastel. So this is a collage. This is a little bit more my style, or it was my style at the time. I really enjoyed doing things like this that are extremely expressive. Oh wow, yeah, I can see a face in here. That's super cool. Wow, I really like this page. Which is interesting because I'm gonna be vulnerable here. I don't know if you saw in the corner, it says, "This is a waste of paper. Why is your art always a waste of paper?" If it's not obvious, I'm a very emotional person. So I just think it's interesting to flip back through these, and that's part of the reason I like doing the ones even from 3 years ago, because I love this page now, and I was so judgmental and hard on myself about everything that I did instead of just expressing how I was feeling. So I don't agree with her. I actually really like this page. This one's just a little landscape, kind of a desert, maybe a dystopian vibe. These are just some swatches. I'm not sure what they're for. I think they're acrylic. This is another little face. If you learn anything about me, it's that I love mixed media collage and I love faces. So this is another one of those in colored pencil, which I don't use very often. And there's a little bit of watercolor on the cheeks. Okay, this is interesting. This is my first attempt at oil paints. And yes, I know this is a mixed media sketchbook, but it is not for oil paints. I did not know that at the time. So I actually went on to do 2 years after this. I did 2 semesters of oil painting in art school, but this was my very first tube of oil paint, just kind of figuring out how it moves, what it does. I actually think this is a good first attempt. But the whole world of oil paint was so new to me. I didn't know how to do anything. I'm kind of impressed by that. It's definitely really shiny, but yeah, I'm surprised. I did have to leave my sketchbook open for like 3 days for this to dry. I remember that. And here's another little spread with 2 marker sketches, and then this is just acrylic paint. I just kind of taped this in. I actually really like the kind of layout of this and the colors that are in it. This is I'm trying to figure out what all these materials are. I believe it's watercolor and gouache. Just kind of a nature scene, a tree. It's a little bit, oh, would you look at that? It's a little bit altered reality, kind of, because this is supposed to be a tree trunk, but you know, it's just the dimensions are skewed a little bit. I actually really like this page, and I remember not liking it before. This page was writing 5 things that I'm grateful for. And if I can read correctly, it says my boyfriend's name, and then my body, my family and dogs, my motivation to improve my quality of life. This is, I remember when I really truly felt like I was in my art game. Kind of letting the art speak for itself, letting my mind wander and put lines and change the media whenever I wanted to. So this one is very shiny, but it is acrylic paint and there's some little aliens. I don't know what it is with the creatures in here. I don't really normally do that. But just a lot of lines and jagged things, and he's looking around him like, why are you driving left? We're supposed to go right, kind of thing. I remember making this and I was really excited, but I never finished it. So I do have little cutouts here and here to kind of make like a different smile if I wanted to do that, or like different eyebrows. This is something I would actually come back to because I think it'd be really fun, especially with the time difference. It could be interesting. This is another sketchbook spread that I remember not liking or even hating. So I used acrylic paint and actually like smeared my handprint down this page and then did little fingerprints and stuff in the corners. I quite like, especially these and my lines around them. I really like those. Oh, this is in 2024. See, this is what I'm telling you. It's everywhere and it's crazy. So this one is really cool, was really fun for me, but I remember not enjoying it at the time. I really like this sketchbook spread. It's kind of got, a spider theme, spider bones, things like that. Oh, it's called Spider Bones. Yeah. I really like this page. So this is kind of a dual sketchbook spread. I was splatter painting with really cheap acrylics on this side and kind of just decided to lay this book page over it, and then I ripped up another book page that had some paint on it and kind of made, whatever this is. Drew a little face on it. This is the nose and the mouth. And then the overage from this page went onto this page. So if it was, just happened to get splattered on, or if I kind of put it on myself, and then I used Poscas. So this, I actually made this after I hadn't done any art for months. It was kind of just a situation where adult life gets in the way. I'm just very busy with my life right now. I started school again, so there's a lot going on, and art tends to go on the back burner for me sometimes, which is really unfortunate. But I kind of wanted to get back into it in this pretty chaotic and unpredictable way, just to see what came out of it, and I actually enjoy it. So this is inspired by, this is inspired by a picture that I took when I was on vacation of the hotel lamp. Maybe I can input a picture here. But the lighting was just really cool. The shadows were like displaying on the wall and things like that. So I did this page first, which was, my sibling was in bed, but kind of just relaying the picture with charcoals. And then this one was a lot more abstract, using only this page. For this, I used the picture, and for this one, I only used this page and then made it more abstract. Just kind of exaggerating shapes and things like that. I really like this wavy line right here. Almost even putting like the bust of a statue in here. Just playing around with it a little bit. And I do have, 3 more pages in this sketchbook. I am a chronic can't ever finish a full sketchbook. Whether there's 5 pages left, 3 pages left, that's something I need to really work on. This was the end of this sketchbook from 2022 all the way to 2025. Just like sporadic things in there, but mostly 2022 and 23. So this is another sketchbook, would you believe it? Starting in 2023, and this one is actually, like I just roasted myself for, unfinished. This is one of my favorite covers that I've done. So this is from some edibles, cookie mix, you know, things like that, and just a little, I have no idea where I got this from, but it's just a little inspirational quote, some huckleberries, Dutch Bros sticker, and I got this from a fortune teller machine. And then I hot glued this little ribbon on the front to act as like a bookmark for the page. So this is kind of a common theme for my sketchbooks, is that I get art supplies for Christmas and then I'll swatch them all out. So these ones are these Master's Touch alcohol markers. I only have them in a few colors and a lot of them are dried out now. And these are of kind of a watercolor palette that I got. These are tub watercolors. I have the liquid ones now with my own palette, but I actually do use these a lot just for the convenience of them. I don't know what brand they are. I would guess Master's Touch, but they definitely get the job done. Here I'm just playing around with all my new stuff. I was so excited about it. So as you can see, I made a pretzel. I don't know. This one is one of my top sketchbook pages I maybe have ever done. It was in February of 2023. It's showing a little dark on camera, but it actually is a little bit like redder and brighter than that. I used an erasable red colored pencil, which I was gonna show you guys, but I actually have no idea where it is. And then the watercolors that I just showed you guys, I just love the expression in their face. I'm a big fan of like these lines and just the expressiveness of them and kind of the blank stare. And I think having it split into 2 pages makes that even more apparent, that kind of dead in the eyes look. I just really like this character. I do use my journals as kind of a junk journal as well. This is a little piece of paper I was given when I left my college job, and it was just a bunch of sweet things that people said, so I kept this in here. Just a little drawing of the sky. I actually really like how this turned out. I think it's pretty. Watercolor. I love this page. I think it's sweet and cute. It's very lovey-dovey. This was actually gouache. And then I taped the edges. Not straight, but I taped them. This is just kind of an abstract shapes with ink. All of the ink drawings that you've seen me do are this Bombay Black India ink. I have had this since college and it has lasted me forever. I actually want to get a couple different colors in this just because it's fun to play with. This is a very shiny page. It's actually note cards. I just cut them up randomly and then kind of collaged them and like Mod Podged over the whole thing. And I used black Sharpie. This is cute. I didn't remember this page, but I used alcohol markers and oil pastels together, which is normally not something I would do, but it's very cute. This is a little collage I did with magazine pieces. There's actually a lot here. There's a little oil pastel, there's some Posca pen, and I kind of like it looks like I had 2 of the same image, and I like doubled up and I said, look without seeing. I really like this page. The child behind the first one has a dog, and this one has kind of like a black box that I glued in there. And then there's another one up here. I really like the repetition in this. I think it's cool. These are actually 2 of my favorite pages, this one and one I'm about to show you. I just went to like a soap store, but I came out with a bunch of stuff. So it's kind of a junk journal again of my day. It looks like I got a Walmart receipt too, but just the receipts and some of the clippings from the actual soap container. I bought a little soap dish, clearly, and like from the bag. And then I found this ribbon in my just absolute hoard of art things, and it matched perfectly. So I really like this page. A little Red Bull cap too. This is another page that I really, really enjoy, just kind of cutting up and making whatever I feel like. I don't remember what this red stuff is from. It's just from a shopping bag, I think. But again, journaling, kind of brain dumping all of my feelings, using really dark marker to explain like really strong feelings, and then kind of collaging over it so you can almost not even tell what some of it says. A little band-aid in the corner, and this is be happy. I like when I can convey how much emotion I was feeling. So even now, this is from 2024 actually. So even now I can tell that I was really going through it. This is another little spread of some random stuff. It looks like a note I was taking, a tomato cover, a parking ticket, stuff like that. I just like the colors together, and there's watercolor in the back. This looks to be some sort of like cupcake liner or something. This is just a bunch of stickers. I remember I was gonna do something else with this and I didn't, but honestly I think it looks fine. I like the Yeti thing happening. My boyfriend and I tried butterscotch beer. It's really sweet, but it's really good. This is a crazy man in pencil. You know what? I actually don't remember doing this, but this is the plant that I currently have, so I know it was recent. But I really enjoy it. I love this stick figure balloon person, and like I have told you guys multiple times, I'm really into drawing faces. When in doubt, I'll draw a face and kind of get back into my groove. So this is just pencil, and I really like it. And like I said, guys, I still have quite a ways to go in this sketchbook. It is definitely not finished. I probably have about 20 more pages. But that's okay, because this is my current sketchbook compared to the one we just reviewed. It's a lot bigger, so it is nice to have the size variation available to me. But yeah, that's the end of this one. Let me know down in the comments after I'm done with this sketchbook tour videos if you want to see anything else. I definitely have quite a few bigger art pieces. I have a lot of paintings like this one, so I could do kind of a video showcasing all of my paintings and kind of the process sketches for them if you guys are interested in that. I could also do a tour of my little art cart over here. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier while I was flipping through my sketchbooks, I am starting school in the next few months. I'm starting my graduate program. So I just bought a bunch of school supplies that I'm very excited about. So if you guys want to see a little school supply haul, let me know and I can get that to you guys as well. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye!